All right, we are back with the round 5 of the New York City Invitational round robin tournament, where players are fighting for the Grandmaster norm. Levy Rosman is one of them. Obviously, we are following his adventures. I'm Artur Nations. I'm a chess Grandmaster and coach of Levy. We've been working together for the past several months, since May. And this is the second game of the day, round 5. So far, 4 games have been played in this closed tournament. Probably most of you are aware that it's just not really going for Levy so far. It is what it is. So Levy has lost 3 games. He has made 1 draw. The first game today, he lost against Kyron Griffith, who, by the way, pulled up a very nice positional masterpiece. So good for him, and Kyron is leading the tournament. He's the sole leader of 3.5 points out of 4. Really showed some very nice chess. But as for Levy, Levy has to continue to improve. And this game is going to be yet another opportunity for Levy to play a strong Grandmaster and attempt to win the game. So let me see if the video feed is ready. I don't think it is yet. So give me something like a couple of minutes. Then we are going to switch to the playing venue. And there's a 15-minute delay for the broadcast. So how it works? We have the chessboard, but the incoming moves are arriving after 50 minutes. This means the game already has started, but we will get the moves after 50 minutes. This is due to the fair play reasons, which is a popular thing all over the world, so that none of the participants is getting funny ideas of using illegal assistance like smartphones or following stream. You can't do that. Naturally, that's why there's a delay. I have a video feed. I'm going to scroll back the video feed for 15 minutes, and then we can synchronize the video with the board. So Levy has a phone, which is streaming his board. All of this is obviously a part of the agreement with the tournament organizers, although technically it is impossible to have electronic devices in the playing venue. So the playing venue is Marshall Chess Club, one of the oldest chess clubs in New York City. So Levy is basically playing home, not very far from his home. And yeah, the tournament is going to continue for a couple of days. Just a sec, let me see if I can really switch. All right, I think we are more or less ready. I'm still gonna have to adjust it a bit at some point later to have a perfect synchronization. Levy's opponent today is Oliver Barbosa, a young Grandmaster from Philippines, who has been having second, what was his score? Let me check it. Nothing really great for Oliver. Actually, no, not so bad. 2.5 points out of 4. So he lost 1 game. Oh, sorry. How many points? Yeah, 2.5 points. So Barbosa has won 2 games, made a draw, and lost 1 game. So he has a pretty decent run so far. Just a second, let me see if I'm gonna adjust it one more final moment, and then it's gonna be okay. Perfect. Okay, there you go. All right, sorry again, it's gonna play back a bit. Now it should be perfectly synchronized. There's a question that keeps appearing in the chat all the time. Can Levy make a GM norm in this tournament? The short answer is no, not anymore. He would have to score 7 points out of 9. Right now, Levy already has lost 3.5 points. Now it's all about just rating points, but I think the most important thing is to get into the rhythm and finally play a good game. I talked a bit with Levy after the game. Everything is okay. Yeah, so he says, I don't think I'm really playing so badly. I'm just losing. And we talked a bit about some of the choices he has done. I said that in the previous game he was playing very passive, like that he should be proud about his game against Shirilov. It was a very nice game, should have won the game, but somehow he did lose it in the end. And the games against Jurabek, Kamrakulov, and Paragua, they're draws. Okay, fine. Should have been draws against Kamrakulov as well, so fine. You can't win them all. So the good news is that Levy keeps the positive spirits. He is perfectly aware he doesn't play well in this tournament. But as already we discussed, sometimes there's good tournaments, sometimes there's bad tournaments. At the moment, Levy has lost about approximately, I haven't really counted, about 13 points. Since his return to competitive chess, Levy had gained 50 points. So nothing really tragic. The plan for this game is to play the symmetrical Slav. There's one line Levy wants to test. So the idea is to play c4, c6, d4, d5, and c6 on d5. He had this funny idea about one particular setup, and well, what can I say? I mean, I said, of course, give it a try. Try it at least in one game and see what happens. So we'll see. By the way, I'm reading both chats on Levy's Twitch and YouTube channels, so thank you for being here. Where are you watching this from? I mean, from time to time, I'm asking the countries, where are you from? So I'd be curious to hear, because I remember when we were doing the coverage for the first round game, even at 4 a.m., there were so many Europeans, right? It was pretty amazing, because the game started at 2 a.m. I'm doing the coverage. I'm not from New York City. I'm from Riga, right now in the capital city of Latvia. And it's the middle of the night here, but I just couldn't resist. Do the commentary. I have adjusted my, obviously, daily schedule for Levy's tournament, so I'm feeling fine. All right. Okay, we have a lot of countries. Also, a couple of Latvians I see are following this. All right. Awesome. So I just hope that this is going to be a nice spectacle. Even if Levy cannot really fight for the norm, we still support him. It's going to be a longer road. There will be bumps on the road. This is one of the bumps. So life is good. The time control of the tournament is 90 minutes for the entire game. This means that it's going to be a long game. It's not going to finish in 1 hour, unless, of course, there's going to be a trefoiled repetition, or the position is going to be so dry and boring that players don't want to continue. Then it could be a draw. But normally, every single round so far continued for 4 hours. Even the last round. That's quite amazing. Every single round, exactly 4 hours. That's pretty tough. So the players are getting ready. I believe the game is going to arrive in 3 minutes. Obviously, it's already ongoing. So we are having a delay. But the good news is I'm reading the chat real time. So if you are here during the broadcast of the Spillenberg Open tournament, we hadn't quite figured out that we can delay the incoming video transmission for 15 minutes. Now I know how to do it. It was mainly my fault, but now we're good. We already have started to talk about the things we are going to do after the New York tournament. Actually, Levy is very eager to continue working. I mean, he is, after every single game that we play, he immediately writes me, these are the things I want to improve. Like he says, I'm not happy with my calculation. I'm not happy with my decision making. I played passive today. You know, we got to work on this and this and this. I mean, of course, I'm aware of that because I'm watching his games and I see the elements we have to improve. But at the moment, I'm saying to him that, listen, Levy, just concentrate on the tournament right now. Your coach is watching you. I'm keeping notes. We are going to work on it seriously after the tournament, right? I have a lot of ideas, a lot of material to use. So it's going to be great. It's going to be really great. I'm very excited about some of the things we're going to do. So life is good. So let's just enjoy this game and hopefully Levy will get in the rhythm. What's the tournament's name? Skellig is asking on Twitch. Let me tell you. Let me try to remember the official title. It's Labor Day Marshall Chess Club Invitational GM Norm Tournament. I think I got it correctly. Why Labor Day? Because United States of America celebrates Labor Day at the beginning of September. I believe so, at least every year. So this year it's 2nd September. But anyway, I think it's just a reason to gather. So this tournament is specifically organized to give chance for young title seekers as Levy. Also, there's some other talent. Like, by the way, there's another chess talent, Liam Putnam, who is, how old is he? Like 15, 16. He's rated 20 and he has something like 1 point out of 4. Yeah, does it mean he's playing badly? No. I mean, when you get in the room, 10 very competitive players. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. That's how it works, right? So Levy, unfortunately, at the moment is losing. But again, it's experience. There we go. The game starts. Let me see if I got the synchronization correctly. D4? Yeah. Oh, wait. Q started with D4, then C4. Right. So the first time Levy plays the queen's pawn opening. Now the plan is to play the exchange Slav, to play C4, because Barbosa is a big fan of Slav. We talked about many setups in the Slav defense. I think Barbosa is going to play C6. Yes, he does. And this is one of the things I have talked with Levy is that do not be afraid that people can prepare against you. Trust your openings. You know them well. You're an expert. And mainly players are afraid of what they don't know. It's like if I am afraid that somebody's going to prepare against me, it means I am not sure about my opening. C takes on D5 is played. Yeah, it's very interesting how the understanding of certain systems is evolving. Because this move C takes on D5, the exchange Slav is has the reputation of a pretty drawish line. Well, there's going to be surprise. Wait for it. I mean, if this indeed is going to happen, there's a surprise incoming very early. So, yeah, knight c6 is played. The position is completely symmetrical. And normally, white will play most like bishop f4, e3, knight f3, bishop d3. Just play it positionally. But Levy has prepared something. Let's see what it is. For this particular game, his opponent looks surprised already. Yeah, because Levy has never played this before. So naturally, when you're preparing for a game, you expect that your opponent Hey, Eric, don't spoil, please. Eric Rosen on YouTube chat. All right. Thank you for being here. Yeah, e4. This is the idea. This is the surprise. So normally, as already said, bishop f4, e3, knight f3 is the positional way to play. And we also looked at if here Barbosa would have played knight f6. There was a very nice surprising move planned. So let's not reveal what it is. So knight c6, e4, Levy immediately strikes in the center. And now the question is, what should black do about it? Because if black plays d takes on e4, it seems that the pawn on d4 is hit. But now, white gets to play d5. You could have played knight b4, you drop the knight, obviously. So instead you will play knight e5, and now white can play queen a4 check. Here, queen e4, and suddenly, you know, this knight is walking way too many times. So let's say here, and I think the strongest move is bishop c4, knight f6, and put a queen on e2, knight f3, and white actually has a large advantage. So Barbosa very quickly played knight f6. I think the main move here was e5. e5, knight e4, and bishop d3, if I'm not terribly mistaken. But also e takes on d5 is pretty good. Isn't d5 really good? Yes, it is. It is. Actually, I think there was a different move here for black. After e4, I think it was e6. But after e6, you can always play e5 and just play some sort of a closed French. Like, I mean, why I'm saying closed French? So you play knight f3, bishop d3, and then you think about starting a king set attack. So for example, the game would have started e4, e6, d4, d5, here, here, here. Oh, sorry. Let's say knight c6, knight f3, takes. Does it look familiar to you? I think it's actually pretty close what is happening in the game. So here after, instead of e6, e5, it's basically the same position. Except the knight is not on f3, it's on c3. So knight f6, Barbosa apparently wants to play knight e4. I love his thinking. Why is Levy taking so long for this prepared move? Because he was expecting slightly different setup. This is not the best that black can do. And if your opponent is playing not the best, obviously you have not checked it as thoroughly as the best move. So after the first game today, I talked with Levy about how it's going, and I just mainly told him the most important thing is to stop the bleeding, right? And not to make out of this bad tournament even worse tournament. Because, you know, sometimes players get this feeling that, you know, it can never be worse. Trust me on this. It can always be worse. You're thinking it's really bad? Well, it can be much, much worse than this, right? So it's important to not think about it. So keep working. And I told Levy that the most important thing here, obviously, is to find the rhythm, play easier moves, and it's gonna be good. He is not reading YouTube chat. He is reading Twitch chat. Rocky Rat writes on YouTube. What do you think I just read? I just read your comment. I'm reading YouTube chat. I'm literally reading YouTube chat right now. I'm doing it all the time. I have 2 chat windows open, Twitch and YouTube. If I see an interesting question or something, I read it out. If I see a question I have nothing to say, I say nothing. And obviously, I cannot answer every single question. You know, actually, what's the difference is? I'm also streaming myself right now on my Twitch channel by username GMNactions. You can check it out if you want. But what I am doing in my own channel, I am a small-time streamer. Yeah, so I have something like, I don't know, 14,000 followers. And my chat is pretty slow. So I'm used to, answer every single comment. So somebody comes in and say hello, I say hello, etc. How are you doing, etc. So it's very slow. And for Levy, it's usually, there's something like 20,000 people watching, and sometimes the speed goes like this very quickly. So I can't answer all the questions, obviously. I'm just randomly selecting something. F3. Wait. Levy's just trying to replicate the line. Right. Okay, I can reveal what was the idea. So the idea was to go here. And after knight c6 was to go here. And I think that Levy got a bit surprised by the immediate move knight c6. So now f3 is weird. I mean, why not play e4 immediately? Right? So after knight f6, Levy is thinking, I can just transpose. I can play f3, which is perfectly normal, and Levy knows this line. Well, the thing is, maybe the immediate e5 push was simply better. So if black plays knight e4, you play bishop d3. If black plays knight c3, b takes on c3, this is a really great setup. h4, h5, knight f3, etc. White is doing okay. So maybe there's knight e4. Check here, knight e4. Here, bishop e4, bishop d7, e6. Now it feels some sort of a Alapin. Do you know what is a Sicilian Alapin? So black plays, let's say, knight f3, or maybe, I don't know, where do you put the queen? Let's say something like this. So it feels like a Sicilian Alapin position. Let me show you from the very beginning. So e4, c5, knight f3, e6, c3, d5. Oh, sorry, not d5. Knight f6, e5, knight e5, here, 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 here. Whatever, let's say bishop c4. Do you see the similarity of the position? So it's very interesting because now with the different transposition we get to the Sicilian Alapin, and then earlier there was a moment when Levy could have played a position, for example, here, to a closed French position, French defense position. Now, that's why I think it's a very good idea for Levy to know many openings, even if he doesn't know them, so that he could easily improvise. So even if Levy is not an e4 player, even if he is not a Sicilian Alapin player, you need to know ideas from different openings as well, because you can apply the same knowledge. The most important thing you have to know is Levy knows this position. Okay, technically maybe e5 was the better move, but f3, this is something Levy prepped for this game. Also, by the way, now e5 is a threat. So let's say black decides to play e6 to be solid. e5, knight e7, f4. Now this is again French defense position. So now the big question is, should Barbosa take on e4 or play e5? Let him figure it out. I don't think he has seen this position like ever. Do I think playing more positional chess in openings would be better suited for Levy to climb to the GM rather than playing for tactical games? Unfortunately, you can't really make it to the GM title without playing the positional chess. It's part of the road. Levy has to improve both aspects of the game. Would I ever play Pia while Levy and Anna commentated for content? Well, that's a universe suggestion. Actually, I have already played Pia. So we're talking about the upcoming match. Levy against Pia Crumling, end of October, early November. There's going to be a massive event for fans in Stockholm. I have played against Pia once or twice in Swedish Chess League. And also, I'll be playing in Swedish Chess League later this year. It's one of my favorite leagues, and I love Stockholm. Really, I love it. Great city. So if they would do the commentary, fine, why not? That would have been something. But I don't think it's ever happening. So thank you for the suggestion. Let's be real. How old I am? I'm 41. Yeah, actually this position feels like the fantasy variation from the Karakan. Good notice, by the way. So Levy knows quite a bit. The fantasy variation. I mean, is this not something he included in his Chessable course? Also the Chess League courses? I'm not exactly sure, but I know he has played quite a bit of the fantasy variation. It's very interesting. Interesting observation, right? So now this position, it feels quite the same. There's no c-pawns. Now, obviously, the big point is after d takes on e4, e5, d5, f takes on e4, and white gets very aggressive. What is my classical rating? 2571. Just recently, I was 2600. So, I understand something of chess. Have I ever played Juan Belon Lopez? No. But I deeply respect him. He is obviously well known, a player in Sweden. Plays also for our opposing team, Team Vasa. Actually, I could tell you stories about the Swedish league. I don't think you want to hear it. We're here to follow Levy's game, so maybe another time. All right, Barbosa is in a tank. This is good. He's thinking. Have I ever played Jon Ludwig Hammer or Agdestein? Jon Ludwig Hammer is my teammate in Sweden, by the way. Now, it's actually, it's going to be pretty amazing, when we are going to go back to the Swedish league, because this is one of the rare leagues where Jon Ludwig plays. We play for the same team, Stockholm Rockaden. We are the champions of Swedish team championships. And it's going to be pretty amazing, because I'm doing commentary for Levy, and Yo Ludwig is doing commentary for Hikaru. Play for the same team. How about that? All right, there's no more moves. What do I think Levy needs to work on in the future? There's a question on YouTube. Calculation, decision making, time management, middle game plans. Those are the huge topics. His openings are fine. Actually, when I started to work with him, already at the very beginning, I said, after I had a look at his games, I said, your openings are fine. You're not, this is not your problem. There are other problems. Then obviously more problems surfaced after we started work together. I realized there are things to improve. It's going to be a long journey. My estimation, at least several years. It's going to be a very exciting time. There will be moments when Levy will be playing great. Everybody is going to be excited. There will be moments when Levy will have bad tournaments like this one. It will happen. But ultimately, I believe the road to the GM title will be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But always keep moving forward. Do I think your physical appearance can change the way the opponent plays? Absolutely. Yeah, there's a question by Vepa on Twitch chat. Absolutely. I mean, the way you portray yourself during a game, it can have a very serious effect on the opponent's performance. So if you're sitting over the board and you don't really transmit a lot of powerful energy, your opponent is going to feel, I can beat you. Or if you're sitting over the board and you're like incredibly in control, I mean, you possess very strong aura, like Garry Kasparov, and just unbelievably strong person. You're literally afraid to play against him, right? Of course. It is important. Levy looks like he doesn't care anymore. No, he does care. He cares. He's upset, but he cares. I promised to tell a story from Spillenbergo. I'm going to tell it at the very last day of this tournament, okay? So you'll have to come back at round 9 when the tournament will wrap up. You're going to hear it, I promise. It's a stupid story. Have I ever played anyone in top 10? I have played literally every single player from top 10 online. But online. Literally everyone. Over the board? No, I don't play in tournaments they play. I have never played over the board. Like Magnus Carlsen or Hikaru Nakamura or Dingle Ran or Fabio Caruana. I never had a chance. I mean, where would our paths cross? And they're just much better. What improvements I have seen in Levy's chess since I have started? He has stronger mentality. He manages to fight back from difficult situations. Okay, the previous game against Chiron, he was mercilessly outplayed, and there was nothing he could have done. So it's a game to forget. But when you think about other games, like Kamrakolov, first game, like Paragua, game 3, he fights back. And this is also what he did in Spilimbergo. Now, previously Levy would collapse in such situations. Now, he doesn't do it. So mentally, he is stronger. Obviously, there's no secret, there are still big problems. I mean, you can't really change everything overnight. He became better at no funny business. I love how you put it. Lovely Ponderino, thank you. What is my take on Ding versus Gukesh? I'm afraid it's going to be a very one-sided fight. What is the difference between 2600 GM and 2750 GM? Not a big difference. So a 2750 GM is slightly better at everything. Like, he can calculate. Obviously, he can calculate better. These guys, they are really good at calculation. So 2600, not all of them, they're really good. So definitely they are having better preparation. But apart from that, they're more consistent. I think also a very important thing is consistency. They're consistent with the result. So, for example, a 2600 guy, the question could be, can he beat a top 10 player? Sure, it happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, you could beat 2750 guy, but can you do it consistently? No, you can't do it. Like, on a good day, I believe any 2600 guy can beat 2750. No problem. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's actually very difficult. But in the long run, no, the 2750 will show the mastery. Yeah, except maybe of Magnus. Magnus just, normal rules don't apply to him. He's just crushing everybody. All right, so Barbosa is not yet making a move. This is good. This is a good sign. Do I think Magnus has any chance against Hans Niemann? No, I don't think Hans has any chance against Magnus. How long have I been coaching Levy? Since May. Will I play at the Olympiad? I will. So the Olympiad starts in exactly 10 days. I will have to think about how to work with Levy during this time, because this is about 2 weeks when we are going to have difficulty to work because I will be playing an Olympiad. Do I secretly play Fortnite? Not secretly and not openly. I don't like Fortnite. I have played computer games quite a lot before. Not anymore. I mean, I used to play a lot of games, but it's just a passion that is gone. I no longer find it interesting. How long is my contract with Levy? There's no contract. We're just working together. So I'll do my absolute best to help him to get to the GM title. Maybe at some point he's going to be tired of me and he'll fire me. Fine. What can I do? But I'm trying to do my best. So Levy right now is my priority. Absolutely. Because I can relate to his career. And I'm absolutely believe that he's going to do it. He's going to get the GM title. Yeah, Barbosa isn't a long thing. It's just not so easy. Yeah, not so easy to play the next move. Okay, let me show you a couple of lines. So what Barbosa is thinking about, for example, d takes on e4. Right, so it makes sense you hit a pawn on d4. Now Levy's idea here is to play d5. Knight e5. And how about a simple f takes on e4? So black could play e6. And white could play knight f3. And after knight f3, there could be queen f3. And after e takes on d5, there could be e5. And there's so many things to calculate. It's just something he has never seen before, right? That's why this d takes on e4 and d5 is not so obvious. Another move maybe could be e5. Now after e5, white can take it, knight e5, and collect the pawn. And you're thinking, what is this position? Like there could be bishop c5, there could be knight e5. How to evaluate this? Okay, the bar says black obviously is doing great, but you need to know all of this. By the way, e5 is on the board. All right. And Levy already responded very quickly. I like this. You know, one of the things I think that everyone should be always doing when you are in the prep, play it as quickly as possible because it's going to apply immense pressure against your opponent. So your opponent doesn't quite know how far your preparation goes. And that's why every single decision he's going to make, he will double question every single choice. Because essentially, maybe Barbosa is not playing against Levy Rosman. Maybe right now, he is playing against a cloud engine. All right, knight e5 is played. The pawn on d5 is under attack. There's also an intermezzo check on b5. Do I believe that Levy could outperform me at some point? I hope so. I don't really have any ambition as a player anymore. I mean, obviously, I still continue to play, but I don't think, or even f4, right? I don't think that I can perform better than I'm playing. So I reached my own rating was 2631, the highest rating. I was dreaming about getting in top 100 in the world. Didn't get it. So I'm focusing on other things like coaching. I like coaching. I like doing the commentary. I also have a YouTube channel. You can check it out. By the way, after every single game, I post recaps on my YouTube channel. So my username on YouTube, also on Twitch, is GM Nations. Just add my last name and GM in front of it. There you go. You're going to find it. Every single game I post recaps. I'm not really sure what else I'm going to post there. Like, I don't really want my content to overlap with what Levy's doing, like posting full videos from our training sessions, because I have all of those videos, obviously. I have them. So Levy's recording the training sessions, and I'm recording the training sessions. But since he's putting them on his a Patreon, I wouldn't really want to duplicate it and, for example, to put it on my own Patreon. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to open a Patreon at some point. I'm going to think about it. Is a coach similar or the same thing as a second? Um, I'm not actually sure what are the functions of a second. So a second is very often a helper on site during a tournament, like the World Championship or candidates tournament or super tournaments. There's a second, somebody who is helping you with everything. But I've never been a second to anyone, so I don't know what are the functions. Is it just coaching? Is it, I don't know, cooking, making breakfast? I have no idea how the functions of a second really work. I suppose it's the same coach. Maybe it's just a different name. All right. So the idea of f4 is to play e5. So for example, if black plays knight c6, there's the e5 move. Hitting the knight and then collect the pawn on d5. I think so, at least. Just like, why? I don't remember this. Or was it the takes on d5? Just a second. Let me check it. Wait. After knight e d7, there's e takes on d5, hit the knight. Yeah, my memory is a bit not great. If you go knight g4, there's h3, and then you play e5. So all you need to know is that this is the prep. Levy knows this, and his opponent doesn't. So far, the opening is a success. It's gonna work just this once, this particular line, never again. What are the most important factors for ensuring a good match between a coach and a student? I suppose the communication, that you listen to each other, willingness to change, willingness to adapt, not having a huge ego. Yeah, those are the things that would come in my mind. What's wrong with e5? You think I remember? I already don't remember. e5 is definitely a move, but e takes on d5 is just a move with a tempo. I'm not even sure that Levy remembers this. I certainly don't. e5, maybe. Maybe it was d4? And takes and takes. Something like this. There could be something else. So this seems to be the most principled choice. So takes, knight b4. Let's say bishop c4, bishop c5. I wish I would remember. I do not. Okay, let me check with an engine here. Maybe it's gonna ring a bell. I'm switching on an engine. I'm not using an engine during the broadcast. I've said it multiple times. So E takes knight b4. Bishop, I don't remember this. Bishop b5, bishop d7, and d6. With the idea to play queen into check. And this leads to some craziness like takes, takes, and queen a5. If you give a check, we have something like this. That makes no sense. And black is better, actually. For some reason. e5 is knight g4, by the way. This is what the engine says. This is incredibly strong. And queen d5 is queen b6. Levy has to be a bit careful here if he doesn't remember this. So take it, knight b4, check, bishop d7, and d6. This is like strictly the only line. So bishop b5, knight b5, queen a5, queen e2 check, king d7. Okay, this is a pretty sick line. Knight f3, knight e3, king f1, queen b5, knight e5, king d6, and casually play bishop e3 with rook d1. Knight e5, rook d1, takes, takes. I'm obviously using engine here. King c7. Why the slaughter bear? Not by a big margin. Do you get that? I don't remember this line. So what was the f3? This is the top choice of an engine. e5 takes, takes. f4, knight c6. E takes here, check here at d6. This is actually a pretty difficult line. There are ways to misplay this. I'm a bit actually concerned for Levy because if he didn't study this, it's not so easy to pick up. But you know one thing? One thing I think it's important to remember. Even if you do not remember the opening theory, you are a good player. You can figure things out. That's why there's this thing called brains. You use them, you calculate some things, and you figure it out. So maybe during the calculation, something is gonna come back to the memory. You just work on it. It backfires me when I use brains. Okay. For most people, it doesn't. It doesn't backfire. I see you really like the way I pronounce calculation. Yes. What is wrong with that, by the way? I think I pronounce it just fine. I know I have accent, like Latvian accent. I'm perfectly aware of this. But I think I pronounce it really good. I'm quite happy about it. All right. You think Levy's going to try to develop his bishop? I don't know. Could I update the link in the previous command? Eugene is asking. By the way, maybe I can text it to the mods. I can't do it. I don't have access to Nightbot or Mobot. Let me write the mods. Done. All right. E5 is incredibly risky. Knight G4 on black is cooking. So take on D5. This is actually a pretty dangerous ground for Levy. He played a4 so quickly, I thought he remembers. Now he's no longer playing, and I'm not so sure if this was such a good idea. No way, I just said cooking? Yeah, I just said cooking. Yeah, cooking. I just said it. I also can say pog if you want. I already did it before. All right. So take on D5. His body language is not very comfortable. There's a question, not a question, but an insight on YouTube. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Take on D5 with the knight. No, you cannot do it because there's going to be knight E4. I mean, ultimately, even if Levy doesn't know this line, just do the thing and calculate everything until the end. So E5, knight G4 feels risky. E takes on D5, fine. Knight B4, the pawn is hit. Bishop C4 makes sense. Bishop B5 looks very logical. Bishop D7. There could be more moves like Queen E2 and Bishop E3, give up the pawn on D5 and whatever. Just play it positionally. But I mean, this is looking really spicy. This D6 and Queen E2 check. It's not a difficult line. Like, it makes sense, perfect sense. This could be a very exciting game. But if he doesn't know that you have to take on D5 and he thinks there's the E5 move, we are in trouble. Do I see any other good moves besides E takes on D5? I do not. So this is running into knight g4. This is with a tempi. By the way, there's a suggestion that this would be winning the knight, but as you can see, the bishop of f8 is protecting the knight. So black just played bishop d7, you could take it, it's protected, and after bishop b5, I don't know, there's at least knight e3 check, which looks pretty annoying, you can't take it, the king is walking, so black has a very good compensation. Also, the issue here is that after e5, knight g4, you cannot play h3. This would be a great idea to push the knight to h6. This changes things dramatically. So knight g4, take on d5, and queen b6. I mean, even if you don't know this line, you just look at this line and you think, oh my goodness, this looks so scary. My king is weak. There's knight f2, there's queen f2, there's bishop e6, there's knight b4. What I'm doing here. Just take on the e5. Did I teach Levy this idea? No, it was his idea. We worked on a different system, but Levy wanted to use it for one game. So he decided to use it for this game. So it's not only our prep, Levy also works on things. He also writes courses. He has done many courses for Chessable. Sorry, not for Chessable, for Chessly. He has written basically a full repertoire on Chessable. So before we started to work together, obviously he already knew quite a bit. It seems that he is out of the book. He is gonna come up with edicts on d5. Is he overthinking? Not yet. He's still ahead of the clock. He just feels that this is a very important moment. Do I think knowledge of openings is Levy's biggest asset? Yeah, maybe. If you put it like that. Can I show the moves played before? Yeah. So in case somebody just joined, this was the opening. d4, d5, c4. Here, c takes, knight c3. And the point is, Levy was mostly expecting knight f6. He wanted to test f3, at least for one game, with the idea to meet knight c6 with e4, which is basically what happened in the game. But suddenly his opponent played knight c6, and now f3 just makes no sense. So he played e4 immediately, and after knight f6, I'm a bit surprised that he didn't play e5. He played f3, going basically to the same setup, and Barbosa decided to counter-strike with e5, which makes perfect sense. D takes on e5, knight e5. Now his idea is to sacrifice the pawn, play something like bishop c5 and short castle, for example. This looks pretty promising for black. The king is weakened, the black plays castles, rook e8 with a very nice game. So Levy played very quickly f4 with the idea to play after knight g4 h3, and now after knight c6 he's thinking. We should add a timer that tracks the last move was made how long time ago. Actually, this is something that chess.com could improve, don't you think? Because if you remember, before the merger of chess.com and chess24, there was such a feature on chess24. So chess24 had a live broadcast site. They have it already. Because on chess24 it was, right? And you could easily see the spent time. It shows in the analysis. I do not see. Just a second. Maybe I'm... No, I don't see the spent time in the list of moves. Oh. Maybe there's some numbers, but I don't understand what I mean. Those are seconds. Wait, there is it's there. Yeah, it's there. I never even paid attention to it because somehow on chess24 it was more obvious. Okay, it's here. Yeah, the numbers are how much time is spent on each move. Okay, I got it. So Levy apparently has spent... On the previous move, 38 seconds. For this move, we don't know. No, here Levy has spent something like 10 minutes. Not more. Maybe 15. Yeah, this is a risky opening choice, so... It seems that Levy doesn't remember. And in a very sharp position, not remembering the only moves is not great. In general. But again, you gotta take the pawn on d5. Common sense says take the pawn on d5. But I think he is just a bit concretely afraid of this incoming bishop c5 idea. So again, bishop e5 check, bishop d7, and d6. This is not a super difficult line. So bishop e5, knight b5, queen a5. I'm not sure if Barbosa is going to pick up queen a5. Maybe he will. But in the worst case, you can always go back, right? No. No? I suppose black plays the long castle. Yeah, it looks pretty terrible. So takes. Let me try to work it out. What are the other human ideas? Queen a5. Queen e2 check. It does make sense. The king is walking. King d7. Threatening rook e8. So knight f3 makes sense. Maybe this line is looking spicy. Wait, what am I missing? Knight c2 check. Maybe king d1. And then some queen c4, go for the mate. Oh my goodness, what the north is this? Scholars mate incoming at the GM Norm tournament. Yeah, I mean, this line is as follows. Takes it, bishop b5 here, d6, takes, queen a5. I quite do not see what else Barbosa can do. So, queen e2 check is a big threat. You can't play bishop b7. You gotta take on b5. This enables the fork. Queen e2 check is a threat. This is a threat. Sometimes queen a4 is a problem. So you gotta play queen a5. So check here. I mean, this is a very easy way to go wrong. This line. The knight apparently on a8 is more in trouble than the knight on a1. So takes, check here, d6, bishop b5, knight b5, queen a5. Queen e2 check is a pretty difficult line. This is a difficult line. Knight e3 check, king f1, queen b5. Knight e5, king d6. Okay, maybe here you can just take on d3, not play bishop e3. But this looks pretty human. You want to bring the rook on d1. So what was the line? I already forgot. Like knight e5. Maybe go here. Takes it. King c7. I mean, rook d3 also could be a move. Bishop d6 and black is okay, I suppose. No, it's not okay. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's a generic normal move. But concretely, it's a wrong move. So e5, knight g4. He should be sensing the danger here. I mean, his intuition is letting him down big time. Knight g4, of course, is played. I mean, before the tournament, we talked about. Before the tournament, we talked about the strategy. And my suggestion was, when you're not doing good, when you are in a bad shape, you just lost a painful game. My suggestion was, play simple chess. And do not go for super creative continuation. But again, at the same time, it's very easy when you're sitting there and thinking, yeah, of course, in this situation you should be doing this. But again, at the same time, Levy wants to change something. He is trying to attempt to change the game. So he tried to play a sharp line, this f3. Again, this f3 is just for one game. And apparently he just didn't know the entire line that this is the only move, and now e5 is just a mistake because after knight g4, white's position is a bit shaky. I mean, did he really thought knight e4 will happen? Which, by the way, is also a pretty reasonable move. Knight e4, knight e4, d takes. Maybe Levy thought this is the way to continue. And knight g4, black just ignored the pawn on d5. Yeah, it's just not his tournament. We already kind of know that. By the way, the position remains very sharp, but I can't help but feel that Levy simply missed knight g4. Oh. Yeah, maybe try to force the queen trade, but after queen d5, black is going to reject. Black is going to play queen b6. That is the problem. I mean, this is a big threat. It's simply a psychological issue. So I think that right now, this has not a lot to do with chess. Levy's just not himself right now. Yeah, so should have talked him out of this line. Yeah, I was thinking about this. We were discussing what to play for this game, but not sure he would listen to me. But what's done is done. Yeah, okay, what to do against this? All right, now that we are in this situation, what to do? Take the pawn on d5? Or maybe go for development, like knight f3. So let's say you play knight f3, black plays something like bishop c5. You play queen takes on d5. Black probably gives you a check at some point. No matter how you look at this, it's just not great. Yeah, I mean, he needs to come up with something. Maybe indeed bishop e2. Get the annoying knight away. But you know, the the hardest thing, the hardest thing in chess is, I mean, imagine this. So Levy's feeling right now the following way. So he plays pretty bad chess. He's aware. He doesn't feel himself. The games are not going his way. And then you start a new game. You play a new opening idea for one particular game. You don't really study all of the lines. And that is my fault. And then you blunder knight g4. So it's a very unfortunate mix, right? So yeah, then you start to think, what on earth am I even doing here? I just can't believe he missed knight g4. It's just, yeah. I thought it was such an obvious move. Yeah, the problem is not in the threat, not an immediate threat. The problem is the sense of danger. By the way, this feeling of the sense of danger is something Levy has to improve. Oh my goodness. It's Levy's own Operation Barbosa. Oh my goodness. Operation Barbosa. You know, actually, that would have been a very nice title if the game was going his way. Knight f3 feels very natural. Why do you think Levy ignored knight g4? I think the reasons are purely psychological. So maybe after game, Levy's gonna say that it has something to do with calculation. No, it has nothing to do with calculation here. Should have talked him out of this. All right. But okay. So you're in trouble. What do you do? How do you limit the damage? You do some silly things. It happens. How do you work from here? Take the pawn on d5, it just opens up the d file. I don't want to do it. You gotta finish your development. Maybe go long castle. How do you get the long castle? Bishop e2, by the way, might be an idea. Hitting the knight. So black plays probably bishop c5. Take on g4, queen h4 check, g3, queen g4, queen g4, get queens off the board. Play something like h3. The bishop f5 most likely. Play something like g4. Play something like knight f3. Yeah, but there's always knight b4 incoming somewhere. Levy made a move. Bishop e2 is on the board. Oh man, you gotta work this out. I don't think also Barbosa senses that Levy just makes weird choices. So what was the line again? Bishop c5, threatened with a knight f2 move. I think this knight cannot be tolerated. You have to kill it. Like, takes. Levy is aware he made a mistake. He already is aware. He knew it instantly as soon as he saw knight g4. g3 takes. With an ugly position. So h3. All right, I'm gonna switch on an engine. I'm gonna check what the engine says here. What's the most human way to escape? So this is the best move. Check, here, g3, here. This is the best move. There's nothing better. h3 is the best move. So I was pretty correct on that. Knight f3 is the best move. d4 makes sense. Knight b5 makes sense. Short castle makes sense. Bishop d2 makes sense. a6 is logical. Knight e6 takes. Rook d8. King f2, rook d6. g4 and suffer. I think this is basically the best Levy can do. Like f5, rook here, use the obstacle of bishops. All right. At least he came up with the best move from a terrible position. But I mean, again, Levy, come on, man. I mean, you can't miss knight g4. These moves, you play e5, you you have to feel the danger here. Yeah, Levy needs a break badly, but unfortunately, he's not gonna get it because there's 2 rounds a day. You know what? But I'm always, I'm raised like this. I'm raised always to think about the positive things. And I try to find something very positive here. So I think that after this tournament, we always gonna remember the very terrible tournament in New York City when things were not going your way. I mean, what else we can do? No, no, no. He's not gonna drop out of the tournament. He's gonna finish it. You should not drop out of the tournament. Fight it until the end. Find ways. Yeah, Studio says E5 was my first suggestion and I couldn't remember what was wrong with that. That's why you work it out. When you don't remember, you work it out. But the game still continues. Barbosa is also spending a lot of time. He can make mistakes. Obviously, the players don't have access to the evaluation bar. How many GMs he has gone against in this tournament? This is the third Grandmaster in 5 games. So before the tournament, it seemed that the pairing is a very good one. He's playing all the Grandmasters with the white color. Against lower seeded players, he's playing with black. 5 whites, 4 blacks. Playing first round against the strongest player to get in the rhythm. So on paper, it was looking really good. But in reality, it was not good. I mean, a GM is easily gonna pick up bishop c5. This is an easy move, and I think that Barbosa definitely feels that he's better. He feels it. He feels that Levy is doing something really weird. He can't believe it. And I think all of us we have been in those situations when you're just completely unrecognizable. You make silly choices. Yeah, of course, Barbosa knows. So again, the correct intonation was this. F4, here, d takes on e5, knight b4, bishop b5 check. This is a very forcing line. Bishop d7 and d6. Threatening queen e2 check. Black will play bishop b5, knight b5. Now the knight protects the pawn on d6 and threatens with a fork. Queen a5 check. And this is almost the only choice for white to play queen e2 check. Hit the king, king d7, and now this insane idea knight f3. So black will play knight e3 check. Again, strictly the only move. Everything else loses. King f1, queen b5, knight e5. You cannot take the knight. The queen is under attack. King d6, bishop e3, knight e5, rook d1. I mean, you can't really see this line from afar. It just makes no sense. Takes, takes, rook d3, f6, rook c3, king b6. This is what the engine says. Knight e7, king a6. White is pushing. So actually all of this is more or less forced. But the thing is, Levy could not remember. Barbosa is thinking. This engine line, it's what's wrong with modern chess. No, it's just how chess is played at the highest level. All right, I make a short break. Be back in a minute. All right, no moves. The longer Barbosa thinks, the better. Maybe there's some alternatives for black, like h5, like queen h4, Perhaps bishop c5 is way too obvious. Black could also play d4. There's many moves. So bishop c5 makes sense because this is what Barbosa was ready to do here. He was ready to play in similar lines. He was ready to do this exactly here, bishop c5. Go castle short to play rook e8. Now, his position suddenly is so good that instead of bishop c5, he's thinking, what else I can do? From these non-tournaments, I wonder if GM sometimes will see winning line but play the second best option to keep things interesting. No, I don't think so. No, I mean, if you see a winning line, you play the winning line. Because you want to finish off the game as quickly as you can. I mean, sometimes you are choosing a continuation when you have a couple of continuations that lead to the victory. You use the continuation which is nicer, which looks cuter, right? Which looks better. Yeah, then you're thinking about the aesthetic side of the game. But if you have a win, you take it. I don't know. Maybe there are some grandmasters who practice that when you're winning, they just keep the game going just for fun. Can I show d4 line? d4, yeah, it's a move. Knight e4 and bishop b4 check maybe. And king f1. This already feels like a dream. So knight e3 could be very tempting. Takes, get off the queens, and white has never been so good in this position. Like knight f3, etc. So the only hope really here for Levy is that Barbosa is confused. He is confused what is happening in this game, and that he has to choose between many very tempting moves. This is Levy's only hope. Unfortunately, after this knight g4, it was this e5 was a terrible, terrible move. So let's hope that Barbosa will choose something else, because bishop c5 is, I checked with an engine, it's strictly the best move. But it's a very human move. Do I, as a coach, take a blame for e5? No, I take a blame for not talking him out of this line. This is on me. I mean, Levy told me he wants to try this line. At least once. We talked about this before the tournament. This line. And it felt it's a good line for one game. But with the current psychological situation, it was not a good line. Now it's obvious, yes, especially when you play e5, you miss knight g4, now it's super obvious. Yeah, as usual, when things are not going your way, then everything suddenly is very clear how it should be done. Yeah, Barbosa. Barbosa might also miss bishop c5. Because first things first, how human is bishop c5? Because the knight on g4 is under attack, and the pawn on d5 is under attack. So is this the first move you're looking at? Leaving these things under attack? I mean, d4 looks very human. d4 on bishop b4, complete development, save the pawn. No? I think actually there's a very realistic chance that Barbosa could play d4. Technically, Levy could even win this game. If Barbosa misplays this, he makes a mistake, Levy levels the game, he regains confidence. But I think it's way too early to tell. So at the moment, Levy made a mistake with e5, and we need some kind of a mistake also from Barbosa. So again, the line with d4, d4, knight e4, bishop b4 check, king f1. This is the line. And there could be something like h5. Looks pretty human. You see, suddenly engine even gives an advantage to white. But it looks very dynamic. So what I think Barbosa right now is trying to do, he's trying to calculate all of these lines and then comparing whichever feels better. Maybe there's also h5. Oh, what just happened? He almost fell asleep, it seems. This feels like not a good time used by Barbosa. Actually, I think it's a very good time usage. Because Barbosa is a good GM and he senses that you have to spend time in a critical moment. That's what he's doing. Let me maybe paraphrase what I said before. Any GM would play bishop c5. But there's a very important addition. There's other tempting moves as well. So when you have only one obvious move and you're a strong player, you're going to find it. But when you have like 5 very good continuations, you're confused. You don't know which one to choose. So again, d4 and bishop b4 is an idea. Maybe there's also something else. How about... Yeah, but I mean, bishop e6 makes no sense. So it's either d4 or bishop c5. I quite do not see anything else. Maybe queen b6 just drops the knight. You can't do it. So again, the perfect line is bishop c5, bishop g4, queen h4 check, g3, queen g4. You trade the queens. Your king is weak. You have to trade the queens. Knight e5 is simply a long castle. This was... Oh, sorry. This is so dangerous. King is weak. You don't want to do it. So that's why h3 to bring the rook in the game. Like, pray for something like this. This is like a dream for white. So after h3, Bishop f5, g4, push away the bishop. What was the follow-up? I already don't remember. Even bishop d3 could be a move. Oh, wait, it was not g4. It was... I think it was knight f3. Knight f3, d4, knight b5, short castle, bishop d2, a6, here, here, here. This was the line. Down a pawn, but not lost. Not lost. I don't think this is losing. I mean, why this tournament has to be so hard? I don't know. It's like Levy is getting all the painful experiences of 1 year in one tournament. Like a package. We're shipping to you all the painful lessons in one tournament. How not to play the correct openings. How to have a bad time management, etc. So we have a lot of painful lessons in one tournament. Isn't that great? Oh, some of you guys are really funny. Oh my goodness. I appreciate trying some of the chat, some of the viewers trying to cheer us up. Levy will play a couple of FIDE Masters, 1 2000 rated guy after this, so it's definitely he has a chance to finish strong. And this game obviously still continues. The longer Barbosa thinks, the better Levy's chances. The more he gives time for Levy to mentally recover, to calm down. And also, I've told Levy about this. The longer you think, the quality of your move, I'm sorry, what I'm saying. The longer you think, your thought process quality decreases. So Barbosa right now is thinking for like 20 minutes straight, 25 even. Your audio is off, but you see many amateur coaches and psychologists in the chat. Oh yeah, we have all kinds of experts in the chat. We have psychologists, we have coaches, and experts in many fields. All kinds of experts. Yes, and engineers and investors, etc. A lot of experts. Psychiatrists even. Very good. Bishop c5 is played. I don't think Levy wanted to see this move. It took him a long time. Double exclam move. I don't think we really need to see that. Yeah, I mean, the point is why it's a double exclam move, because the knight on g4 is left under attack. So he has to take on g4. All right. Now you gotta take on g4. Knight h3. Well, it is a move, of course. But I quite do not see what's going to be the next move. I mean, black could just play Shook Castle. Even Queen h4 is a move. You can't play g3. Yeah. It's ugly. It's ugly. All right. Let me see what you're writing there. Levy looks like he can hear his coach roasting him. No, I think he just doesn't want to be there at the moment. Just want to disappear from the building. But this tournament is gonna end eventually. Even the worst tournaments, they tend to finish. Why is he thinking here? He's not thinking here. He's just in disbelief. What's he doing? There's no thinking here. I am not dehydrating, by the way. I'm drinking black tea. Why this is brilliant? Because the knight is hanging, and it seems the black just blundered the piece, but there's queen h4 check. That's why it's not a blunder. Queen d5 is a move. Maybe actually considering the circumstances, he has to do it. Now just whatever. Hope that his opponent is going to miscalculate something. There's bishop f2, there's knight f2. Knight f2 would be a big mistake. We will take on c5 and then trap the knight on h1. Obviously, Barbosa is too good for this. So bishop f2 check, king f1. Maybe this brings some hope, but I think this is a interesting move to consider. Knight a5 just looks so wrong. He took on g4, right? Okay. One problem less to worry about. How do you get out of that mental state? I have no idea. Just finished the tournament. Limited damage. Try not to make things worse, because I said at the very beginning of this broadcast, things can always be worse. So you thought the previous game was the worst game? There's always a possibility to play a worse game. But again, life continues. Levy is essentially amassing every single possible painful lesson in one tournament. And there's always the next tournament. So queen h4 check is played, of course. By the way, I was thinking about, it's a king f1. King f1, what I'm talking about. That's a very nice fate to finish the game. Yes, beautiful. Awesome. So no, not king f1. g3 has to be played. No, I mean, my idea was, this would be really appropriate, right? So with my idea was that if you take on g4, I do not weaken some light squares, etc. I've seen crazier things happen. Yeah, then you just hallucinate. But okay, g3 is on the board. Queens have to be traded. King f1 and queen g4 would happen 10 out of 10 in your games. Is it smart to trade queens? Yes, it is, because the white king is exposed. You have to trade. You have to. I mean, this would be just insane. Leave the king wide open. For example, knight b4. You can't take it, that's a fork. Queen e4. Bishop f5. No, you can't do it. Okay, so what to do? Trade the queens here. Play h3 to get the rook out. Bishop f5. Don't take the pawn, obviously. Play knight f3. Also, knight b4, there's some rook h2 ideas. Oh, wait, there's no rook h2. Knight b4 actually is the move. How do you stop this? Takes, h3 here. Knight f3. Maybe actually not knight f3, but bishop d2. Knight b4 is still unpleasant. This looks like I'm watching some horror movie here. Is this a strategically losing position? It might be. All right, the queens are off the board. Yeah, now what? When not doing commentary for yourself, who is my favorite chess commentator to listen to and why? I really like how Daniel Naroditsky does the commentary. I think he's the best in the game. I am a huge fan of Petr Leko, of his expertise, of the knowledge. I mean, his accent sometimes is quite something. Like Peter says, but hang on, man, hang on. It's quite something. An amazing person. Yeah, obviously Robert Cass, and I think also David Cowell is really great. So, Yeah, Danya has an amazing command of the English language. It's just when I'm listening to him, you can just sit there for hours and watch it. Obviously, Swidler as well. Actually, no, I would prefer much more Danya. Swidler is obviously great, yes. But okay. But okay. Actually, I did a commentary together with Naroditsky and Leko some time ago. So I did commentary recently for Leko. I mean, how recently? Last year it was the FIDE Grand Swiss. We did commentary for several days. I was the substitute for Robert. I think he was sick or something. I don't remember. So I got to listen to. But hang on. Or was it? But okay. But okay. Actually, Peter's gonna play in the World Chess Olympiad in Budapest. All right. A game to forget. I think that Levy simply wants to get out of there. So it's like 95. Okay, whatever. Yeah, let's just call it a day. But you know what? This is also gonna be Levy's worst game, like forever. And it's safe to say also the tournament is at the moment a complete disaster. Like, is simply gonna play a long castle, have a massive lead in development where it has no developed pieces. So this is an easy move. Hit the knight. Wait, what? I mean, it just feels crushing. I was thinking knight c3 and knight b4. How is this not crushing? Maybe knight d3? Wait, just a second. Just a second. No, bishop f3 is not there, obviously. Come on, guys. Knight f3. Does Levy have a psychologist in the team? No, actually, Levy does not, but he talked about what was this guy? He knows somebody who could become a psychologist. Okay, let me check what is the actual follow-up here. Okay. Okay. So I just switched on the engine since the chat is spamming about it that bishop f5 is strictly the only move. Well, not quite, but this is quite the move. So black is threatening bishop e4, and if you give a check and collect the rook, black just plays bishop e4 and collects the rook at h1. So your knight on a8 is lost and the rook at h1 is lost. So you can't do that. Instead, you need to guard this square. If you play knight f3, black plays bishop e4 anyway. If you play knight e2, black plays bishop e4 anyway. Knight c7, king d7, time to resign. You can't do it. So that's why, if black ever picks up bishop f5, knight c3, knight e4, king f1, and there's definitely a forcing winning line, like knight b2 here and now long castle. This is the perfect play. Black is down a pawn. But you know what? Maybe given the terrible situation, this is not really the worst choice. Like, okay, I mean, I was telling you, like, strictly the only choice for black, for white to survive, like h3 here, and what was it? Knight f3, and there was this line with d4, knight b5, and here knight e6. Oh, sorry, I think I misplayed it. Bishop d2, a6, knight e6, takes, rook d8, king f2, rook d6, g4, and white lives. So it is a reasonable try, this knight e5. I kind of thought there's immediate punishment, but I saw also this move knight b4. Knight b4, and now, I mean, it's just, this is not how people play. King e2, bishop d3, king d2, engine says, cheer up. You are almost lost, but somehow you are hanging on. So knight e5 is a terrible move, of course. But at least it forces black to do something. By the way, this is apparently a miss. White just plays knight e3 and he's sort of alive. I mean, he's still worse, by the way. But you get to play bishop d2 and you're kind of alive. Long castle is a typical move. Bishop f5 is lights out. In 14 moves. I mean, Barbosa is a good GM. He could easily pick this up. So again, the only hope that he is somehow focused on the long castle. Again, it's the same scenario, dear viewers. Same scenarios here. Black had many tempting choices, like d4, like bishop c5. Okay, bishop e6 quite doesn't make sense. So actually, it's only two choices, bishop c5 and d4. So Barbosa made the correct choice. So he had only one move. Oh, I mean, two choices. Now Levy trades and plays knight e5, and Barbosa has like several choices. So this move could be invisible. It's not really super obvious. It is possible to miss it. Let me tell you this. It is possible to miss it, especially when you see a long castle, which is the most obvious move in this position. And also there's some knight e4. But I mean, knight c7 check is such an obvious move, so long castle is a tempting move. But again, you know, if Barbosa will simply formulate, listen, buddy, you have a weekend long diagonal. I have the light square bishop. How do I exploit the long diagonal? When you formulate things, it suddenly gets a lot easier. Okay, oh yeah, there's bishop f5. So the only hope for us now is that he's not gonna do it, but I wouldn't really hold my breath. Hmm. Yeah, but Barbosa has a lot of time. Half an hour. So from this terrible point of view, knight e5 is a good try. But if black finds bishop f5, it's time to resign, basically. I mean, maybe go knight c3. Knight e4. King f1. Knight c2. Now long castle. By the way, the game kind of continues. Knight f3. Bishop h3. King e2. Bishop g4. I'm using an engine right now, by the way. In case somebody is wondering, I switched on an engine. Knight e4 check is coming. And that's it. Yeah, you can't stop this threat. So this is the forcing line. Like the perfect play. Bishop f5, knight c3, knight e4, king f1, knight c2, long castle, all kinds of threats. So you gotta play here. Bishop h3, bishop g4. Not difficult, really. Yeah. So let's go for a long castle here. The obvious move. So if black castle is long, we need a miracle here, dear viewers. And nothing short of a miracle. So even this doesn't yet guarantee the survival. So Levy could play knight a3. But I don't think why Barbosa would want to go here. Why would we want to go here? Because this allows white to normalize the position. Oh, I missed something. Oh yeah. Rook d2, rook d8. Bishop e3 incoming. So again, if black plays a long castle, knight e3. Of course, black is not going to take it. The bishop on g4 is under attack. This is not a very human line. Why would black play bishop h5? So g4 is strictly the best move. By the way, if you go here, then suddenly white is in the game. I mean, he's worse, but he's in the game. So engine here gives a line, bishop g6, f5, and knight e5. Which is like, come on. Play down a piece. I mean, this is never ever happening. So long castle gives hope. Knight e3. Followed by g4. There's hope. If this happens, there is a hope. But again, unfortunately for Levy, this is so obvious that knight e3 will be the response. So I don't think that Barbosa is going to miss this. He senses there's something here. He played long castle? Oh my goodness. Holy macaroni. Now Levy is not losing. Just a second. I need a second. All right. All right. I have no idea how Levy pulled this off. I'm okay. I have no idea how Levy pulled this off, but somehow he is still in this game. I just cannot believe it. So Levy's gamble with knight x on d5, it burned off. It was a good practical try. Bishop f5, Levy would have to stop the clock. Instead, Barbosa fell for the obvious long castle. Actually, what did he miss really here? I don't understand, because maybe he didn't really feel how good is his position. So, bishop h5, he played g4. Bishop g6? Oh, come on, he's never gonna go here. It just makes no sense. Nobody plays like this. Like f takes, f takes. This is what the engine says. And if you want to be really funny about engines, engine says the next best move here is b4. Well, what is this? What are we looking at here? This game makes no sense. So could it be Barbosa wants to play something like h5? But this position doesn't look so bad anymore. Like, I mean, intuitively, I want to take on g4. I want to play bishop d2. Long castle. Yeah, I see engine hates it, but it kind of gives me hope, you know? Okay, apparently here black is just cruising. So this is not a good line. And h3, you push away the bishop. Bishop d7. You play bishop d2. And you are kind of okay. Now, Levy has a hope. Wow. You know what I would do here if I was Levy? Offer a draw. I mean, both players are Not in the game. I mean, Levy is completely disconnected here. And Barbosa also is cooking. I don't know what he's doing here. Just offer a draw and get out of here. I mean, it's just a game to forget. Bishop e6. Not the worst position Levy has got in this game. Obviously, Levy is still worse. He is still worse. And he has to walk a tightrope here. So, knight of 3. You gotta complete your development here. Knight of 3 and maybe beg for a trade with knight g5 or something. So this makes a lot of sense. And you know what's the most absurd thing? This is the only game when Levy has a time advantage after the opening. it just makes no sense. I mean, you play like this and you get a time advantage on the clock. It's just absurd. So maybe Barbosa is counting on knight b4. But this doesn't look so bad. Look at this. I mean, bishop d2. Bishop e3, bishop e3, knight c2 check. Oh, wait, what am I missing? Oh, wait. Bishop e4. Of course. Boom. This is a must. White's position is terrible, but listen. It hasn't been looking so good. Starting move 9. I mean, Levy, you have literally no other moves here. Bishop d2. Why would you develop the queen? So just put knight of 3. Ah, by the way, this is a threat. Takes, a bishop d5. This is not even a move. So takes, bishop d5, drops the rook at h1. You can't do it. Knight of 3, easy move. Don't think about this. Apply pressure on opponent on the clock. So the strategy here is you play the best move you can think of and you confidently offer a draw. This is the only way out of this. You play knight of 3 and you offer a draw. You're up a pawn, you have more time on the clock, your opponent is suffering, he's thinking way too long, just play knight of 3 and pretend to be strong. I mean, that's the only idea I can think of. Bluff? You know, in the worst case, your opponent is gonna reject. I would try this. Make a poker face and offer a draw. I think that Levy is simply shocked how I'm still here. I was ready to resign, and why you're now forcing me to play this game? Levy has to learn to use these opportunities. Mental game is so important here. I agree, by the way, somebody wrote this on the chat. Barbosa looks tired. He looks tired. That's why you offer a draw while you can. While you still have the clock situation in your favor. You have 34 minutes. Your opponent is tired. You have an extra point. Your opponent is not sure. Play knight of 3 and offer a draw. Who knows? Maybe he's gonna spend 10 minutes and agree. Oh my goodness. Are you mocking me? Why offer a draw from a position of strength? Really? Did you just say that? Position of strength? You think Levy has a position of strength here? This is the worst game he has played in the past years. He just got a miracle opportunity here not to lose this game. I just say use it. Use it with both hands. Oh, come on, Levy, don't overthink this. Apply pressure on the clock. Finally, you have an opportunity here. There's literally no other move here. 92 just makes no sense. Just play knight of 3. There you go. Enough for a draw. Just do it. No, I don't think there was a draw for. Yeah. Yeah. I know. And now the chat is gonna write, why offer a draw when you can play for the win? This is... I'm going to tell you honestly one thing. This is literally the most unbelievable game I've seen so far. The most absurd game. Unbelievable game. I suppose that's why we like chess, right? It just... Why does it always have to come with such mixed feelings? I don't understand. I don't know, maybe Black can play something like f6, but well, Levy's gonna play bishop d2 on rook c1, and he's okay. I mean, he's in the game, so he's actually not much worse. And since he's way ahead on the clock, that's what I'm saying. Offer a draw right now. Yeah, and of course, mark my words. Levy's gonna find a way to win this game. It's just something. All right, our Barbosa has grabbed the cat. He's like, oh my goodness. How did this happen? That he plays f6. It makes sense, of course. Black wants to open up the position. Bishop d2. Again, strictly the only move. I mean, Levy, don't please think about some funny ideas with f5. So, I mean, maybe white can play f5, e6, create a pass pawn. But how about these guys here? They're like your houseplants that haven't seen water for months, right? They're just staring at you and begging to be brought out. So no, I don't think that f5 is really a good move. So bishop d2 will have to be played. And bishop d2, I believe, was... No, it was not. No, it was not played. Bishop d2 and rook c1, this is a pretty easy move. So bishop d2, f takes on e5. Actually, it's... You know, I know I switched the engine on, and the engine says that this is not accurate. Knight e5, knight e5, f takes on e5, black has two bishops. To be honest, I mean, this position looks so good compared to what we saw before. Like, bishop d4, a long castle, and whatever. I know this is bad, but it looks so good. So the correct move, at least according to the stockfish here, is after f takes on e4, e5, ignore the pawn and play rook c1. Go for activity. And now... And maybe the game could finish in a draw like this. Takes, 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 takes. Bishop a2. Knight e5. Bishop d5, short castle, and somehow it's a draw. Rook c1 is pretty hard, but out of lack of alternatives, he might pick it up. So here, I mean, you got to complete your development. So bishop d2 is pretty easy move. F takes on e5. And rook c1 does make sense, because if the bishop goes away, you play knight e5. So it's a normal move. It's not a difficult move. And b6, I'm not sure what is this. It kind of runs under b4. Okay, I mean, I can show you a silly engine line. Like b4, e takes on f4. Okay, this part makes sense. G takes on f4. Now engine casually sacrifices an exchange on d2. And after knight e2, knight b4, black is better. Okay, I'm not going to argue about that. So b takes on c5. Rook d3, king e2, rook a3. C takes on b6, rook a2 check. Just to have some fun. King f1, bishop h3, king e1, king b7, rook g1 equal. Okay, come on. That's why there's hope for humanity. This is never going to happen. Why I'm not suggesting e takes and f6? Because it just opens up the king too much. Maybe somebody's asking, why not take on f6? Because now there are massive problems. I mean, you gotta feel this is not good. Like bishop d2 and rook e8 and whatnot, so these knights are really bad. Bishop d2 is on the board. So far, Levy is playing the perfect moves to save the game. All right. F takes on e5. Probably will be played. So f takes, and now it's critical to find a move rook c1. Bishop e3, bishop e3, e takes on f4. Maybe actually there's something better here. Yeah, how about How about g takes on f4? Good idea after bishop a2. Just play bishop a7. I think this is, by the way, pretty human. Rook e8. King f2. And just start to celebrate that you're going to make a draw here. Probably. I mean, it's obstacle bishop. This is weakness on the 4, but everything just disappears. So it's going to be a draw. Trade rooks, trade knight, and obstacle bishop, shake hands. Actually, this is very much findable. So f takes on e5, rook c1. It's important to find this move. b6 is some b4, whatever. I don't think it's going to happen. So bishop e3, bishop e3. This pawn is under attack. E takes, and now it's important to play g takes. To keep the pawn on a7 under attack. So that just says actually this is somehow a draw. But after bishop takes on a2, I could definitely sense some problems. I mean, you're still down a pawn, right? So why do that? Just play g takes on a4 and collect the pawn on a7. Okay, switching off the engine, that's it. Time to think myself. King b8. All right. That's a move I didn't expect. So he walks away from the pin. Levy still has some problems in this position. But the good news is he has 28 minutes on the clock. I mean, rook c1 does make sense, I agree. F5 is fastable way. Come on, seriously, guys? You want to play F5 here? And then somebody's going to say, why not? I mean, we are going to play for the win. So, F5? Seriously? What? Really? This works? So, this could be a way to make a draw. That is hilarious. Okay, so F5 does make sense. So, what could black do? Ah, then you'll want to play e6. Maybe bishop d5 here. Takes, no, long castle. Actually, it's very human. No, f5 is, wait, but why did we discard this before? What was the reason? Because I said so, I know. So I said never play f5 here because it's just not how you're supposed to play. Takes and takes, maybe because you're underdeveloped, that's why. So after bishop d2 on king b8, now suddenly f5 becomes like a move. So f5, if black goes here, simple trade and long castle, this is the best position white has had like since the very beginning of the game. And something like bishop c8, e6 is simply not human. What is this game? Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I mean, it is a very easy move actually because of the lack of alternatives. Here, after rook c1, black could even just take on e3 and take on a2, and black is simply slightly better. So f5, try to push away the bishop, just even with the sole purpose to castle long, is very human. F5 e6 is human, I agree. But why did I reject it here? Because, I mean, I'm probably too well educated. Because I want to complete my development before pushing pawns in the center. What about a3? No, no, no a3. I mean, this is a threat. Black wants to open up the position. Is Levy looking at the f5 square? That's the question. I sure hope he is. The time advantage is fading fast because Levy senses he has a pretty nice position. I mean, if we go back, exactly 3 moves ago, do you remember this position? He had this position. So, nothing here. And now, 3 moves later, it's this position. You gotta feel the difference. Again, let me just show it here. This position. To this position. some, some memories are best left in the closet. What happened with my video feed? Just a second. Let me refresh. All right, it's back. The only conclusion I can come up with is that Barbosa is also very tired. I mean, he's a good grandmaster. And that he didn't quite understand how good was his position. That is, by the way, pretty hard sometimes. Come on, Levy, you gotta find a 5. F5 and E6. I find it very hard to believe that Barbosa, with only 50 minutes on the clock, he's gonna go something like bishop c8. It just feels like a 3-result game. e6, g6, g4. You can lose this if you misplay this. This pawn is a monster. So that's why I think if Levy's gonna play 5, isn't this why he played king b8? Maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why he played king b8. I thought he played king b8 to stop rook c1, not bishop c8. When you have the bishop on e6, you want to keep the bishop on e6, not on c8. So I think after f5, the game could continue like this. Bishop here, here, bishop f5 takes, rook goes here, king f2, here, draw. Or maybe, you know, Levy gets greedy and he wins this endgame because of a weak pawn on f6. But 18 minutes for Levy. He's a good burning time. Can Levy win here? I mean, rook c1. Bummer. I mean, rook c1 is a natural move, of course, but I think he doesn't want to play f5 at all. b6 responded quickly. Just a sec, let me adjust the video. It's a bit lagging. Now f5 doesn't work because your pawn on a2 is dropping, that's why. So maybe you can still play a3, f takes on e5, and b4. This could be okay. And again, bishop e3. I'm finding drawish lines. I'm finding draw everywhere. I mean, when you want to find a draw, you're gonna find it everywhere. Even in the most insane position. I mean, a3 has to be played. Again, while I was thinking here, this is such an obvious move, b6, no? Or was he expecting something else, like bishop b6? Maybe he was expecting bishop b6, and b6 kind of surprised him again? So at the moment, it's really simple. Your pawn on a2 is under attack, so you play a3. You want to play b4. So black could play, by the way, a5. He could. Stopping b4. But now at least the pawn on a2 is not under attack. And again, we can start cooking with f5. Maybe now actually this feels a bit dangerous because bishop c8, e6, there could be bishop a6 ideas. But I quite don't think that Barbosa is gonna go here. I mean, it looks interesting, but not completely under control. Levy plays a3. Come on, Oliver, play f6. No, he plays a5. That's a good move. Also, Barbosa is increasing speed, and Levy's burning time. Okay, can we try to play a5 again? Unfortunately, now this time it leaves no option for Barbosa, because if he takes on e3 and takes on f5, now there's a pawn on b6 under attack. So even if Barbosa wanted to go here, he's not going to go here. So after f5, he simply is forced to play bishop c8. And after e6, okay, maybe g6 and g4 makes sense. This is also a logical move. He just activates the bishop. Or maybe start with bishop a6 immediately. I'm not sure. Bishop a6 immediately makes sense. And what has difficulties to make the next move? Maybe king f2? Could be some problems with knight e5 and rook d2. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is it b4 a move here? I don't think so. I mean, black just takes the pawn, no? I don't see why this would be good for white. Black has two bishops and outside pass pawn. No, I don't like b4. Knight c4 is a move, but it just feels very risky. E takes on f6 I don't like. Because black's position again, and again, it's the same position. Somehow Levy gets in the positions where the opponent has the easier game. Why this happens all the time? King e2. Okay. It's a move. I mean, a pretty reasonable move. So knight e5 now jumps under knight e4 check, I think. Yeah, it feels very risky. So f takes on e5. He wants to play bishop c3 and rook d1. Wait, what? Am I missing something? It just, again, somehow looks so scary. Like knight e4 takes, and bishop c3. I mean, you gotta take on e5, no? And he does. Oh, we're back to trouble. Why this is trouble? Rook f8. What is going on in this game? When this nightmare is gonna end? So apparently there was something better. Bishop c8 was the best move, as chat was screaming. With bishop a6 and open up rook e8. Oh, come on, guys. I mean, this is a very easy move. Such an obvious move. I don't know how Barbosa didn't pick this up. Everything is just pinned. So rook f8 is a mistake. But oh my goodness, wait a second, I left the engine on. And in this position, Levy has only one move to stay in the game. So rook f8 is actually a good move, but Levy has to pick up the move b4. b4, trade it, trade up your opponent's attacking pieces. And after knight b4, you play bishop b4 on rook c6 and you win the game. So, okay, I mean, black obviously is not going to play knight b4, so the best move is knight e4, knight e4, bishop d4, rook f1. It kind of makes sense, right? Rook f1, knight f1, and black is still better, but white should be able somehow keep on fighting. b4 is the only move here. Only, and nothing else. Otherwise, bishop c8, bishop a6, and the operation Barbosa is complete. I mean, he has to find it out of a lack of ideas here. I mean, you gotta see your king is in trouble. You gotta see that there's gonna be, if the bishop joins the action, that's it. Yeah. Now it's over. This was also another idea that we missed. That actually black just wants to take on f3. By the way, how about a simple threat? Rook f3 here and rook d2. How about this threat? I also, by the way, didn't notice this, but I was mainly focusing on bishop c8 and bishop a6. And now to make things worse, after rook f3, there's knight e4, a fork. And after king f3, rook d2. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is GG. I mean, there's no tricks here. If this trick goes through, so actually, I missed it as well for some reason. But I was, again, focused on this bishop c8 and bishop a6. And on top of that, if you see rook f3, if you see bishop c8, bishop a6, this is basically the only move here. So now the difference here after rook takes on f3, you can take on f3 because after rook d2, your bishop is hanging on c5. All right, king f3 is played, rook d2 is played. Yeah, Levy lost the same game twice. He can't do this. He cannot do this. So he was like given a major help to come back in the game. Knight f3, bishop d2. So f5, I think this was a very important move here. f5 right now with e6. Okay, maybe Barbosa would have played bishop c8 and e6. I don't know. Would have been a game. So, okay, rook c1 was a move. I think Levy again missed b6, a3. He missed a5, king e2. King e2 is a normal move, but again, it jumps under bishop c8 and bishop a6. That's why here Engine was screaming that you have to take with the knight. And after knight e5, f takes on e5, but there's still bishop c8. And then somehow, you know, you hold on. It's ugly, but you hold on. Yeah, but now he misses this completely, and yeah, it's just a blunder. Yeah, unfortunately, what is getting pretty apparent that Levy is again completely missing the opponent's moves. Levy 1-0 is knocking on the door and saying, I'm still here, I haven't left. So it's gonna take a while to get rid of the old Levy. So this was like, yeah, this was, I can't even explain this, yeah, so he did not even see the threat. By the way, I think he missed everything because there's bishop c8, there's bishop h3, and then bishop c8. So rook f1 is like, yeah, there's a resignation. All right. A game to forget, dear viewers. A game to forget. I just, you know, this was probably the most insane game I've seen in the last year, so I will have to take the blame for not talking him out of playing this line. Because we thought it's a very fun line before the tournament. We thought it's a very fun line for one game, but not now, not now. I should have stepped up and said, don't do this. But again, on the contrary, we're thinking we need to change something, right? So it's not going your way. You need to change something. Why not play something spicier, right? And what happened here is that Levy simply forgot the prep. It just looks weird. Again, there's so many weird lines here. And now after e5, knight g4, the position is so bad. He just missed knight g4. He was so unhappy. And bishop g4, queen h4, queen g4. Levy played this knight e5. Here the game would have been immediately lights out. Nothing is happening here. Barbosa missed it actually and played a long castle. Levy was suddenly back in the game. So, and only to end it with yet another blunder. All right. Okay. It is what it is. All right, listen. We are going to recover. Fine. Even if there's more losses coming. Even this is officially the worst tournament for Levy. Levy will recover. We will recover. So, tournament to forget. I think right now the hardest part is just to finish the tournament. You know, just finish the tournament and don't think about nothing else and etc. Just get over this. Everybody sees that Levy is not in shape. He's not himself. Simply not in shape. Not himself in this tournament. There will be more tournaments. Now the first thing is find a way. I don't know. Make 4 draws. I don't know. Just stop the bleeding. If he can win a game, fine, no problem. But we need to find a way to stop this bleeding. And no, this is not a real Levy. Definitely, this is a very this is a shade of Levy, unfortunately. So the action will continue tomorrow. Yeah, as usual. What can I say? The games start the same time at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Chess is brutal. It happens. We had our moment in this game. We're close. It felt that Levy has a realistic shot to escape. But I mean, objectively, the loss was deserved after the terrible opening. And I'll take it on me. All right, listen, everything is good. So thank you for your support. All the haters, you got your pound of flesh. But everybody else who is supporting us, this is very, very important. So there will be more games. And it's 4 a.m. here in Riga. And I'll try to take some rest and talk a bit with Levy. But I wish all of you the great remaining day and have a good night. Take care.